Let's go! DJ Chester commits to LSU. Today we're going to talk about why this is such a big deal for the Tigers. And honestly, this could be a bigger commitment than Tyree Adams and Zalance Heard. I'll tell you why coming up. Don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe, all the good stuff. The first thing here is when you look at DJ Chester, obviously, the size, the athleticism, a lot does pop out at you. He obviously is dominating inferior competition, as you would like to see most offensive linemen do. Obviously, pad level is really good. He finishes his blocks. He loves to get nasty. And look, whether it be pass sets, whether it be in the running game, you see him executing a good down block right there and sealing his guy to the inside. You see a lot of stamina. You see a lot of want-to. You see a lot of athleticism when you watch DJ Chester, and he does not stop until that final whistle blows. So, essentially what you want out of a star offensive line prospect. And the absolute best thing about any of these offensive tackles that are committed for this cycle, they don't have the absolute need to play right away because LSU has two very young, in fact, as young as you could possibly get, offensive tackles as bookends for their future. And obviously it depends on what Charles Turner and a few others want to do. Garrett Dellinger is definitely going to stay for another year. This offensive line is going to be in a position where really none of these true freshmen, maybe one of them, will have to start right off the jump. And I'm also very interested. I did see this in his huddle profile. And I haven't really seen much tape him playing this position. But DJ Chester, it says that he's played some center. So that is obviously very interesting. And maybe, I believe he's wearing number 79 here. Or what is that, 79 or 75? 75. Maybe he could be like the number 79, as many of you know, as Lloyd Cushenberry. No, it is 79. There you go. So maybe that is within the realm of possibility that he eventually plays center. But, he does mostly play tackle in the clips that you do watch him, and maybe just a little bit of guard. So we'll see what happens. I love this clip right here. Him pulling and kicking out that player was obviously really, really good stuff. So now, what does LSU do for the rest of this class when it comes to the offensive line position? Well, for me, I don't think they need another one, right? A 4 offensive tackle class or just a 4 offensive lineman class is honestly really, really, really good, especially considering this was a quality laden group. 4 players that are top 200 and a very interesting prospect in DJ Mabanga. So I always call him DJ Mabanga, Paul Mabanga, or is it out of Buford? Anyway, I always get it mixed up with the Lakers forward. Either way, it is a very nice pickup, but the reason why I feel as if this could be the most important one of them all has nothing to do with the talent, but where he's actually from. As many of you probably know, the other 2 elite offensive lineman prospects that LSU has locked in for this class are both from the state of Louisiana. The offensive linemen that they brought in the last class were also all from the state of Louisiana. Fitzgerald West, obviously Bo Bordelon, and then, of course, the 2 studs, Emory Jones and Will Campbell. This has always been the position where LSU has struggled the most in recruiting, and it is honestly the only position you can really think of where LSU doesn't have a big brand, right? You wouldn't list LSU as one of these schools that are in the tops of the tops when it comes to offensive linemen, right? Every other position you can make a case that LSU is DLU or LBU or, as many of you know, DBU. They're definitely WRU. So, this is obviously something that Brian Kelly is known for, which is developing offensive linemen and putting them in the NFL draft. And obviously, Brad Davis has yet to really bring in the elite 4-star prospect. Obviously, Garrett Dellinger was kind of, sort of, his player in theory. But really this second full recruiting class, finally he gets one of these out-of-staters, and that's good for not only this team, but for Brad Davis's confidence moving forward. And I think that's huge. I really do think so. Yes, it is not I'm not saying that, of course, this young man, DJ Chester, is better than Tyree Adams or Zalance Heard, but it is interesting that LSU finally gets an out-of-state elite prospect that was really coveted by a lot of schools. So big shout out to Brad Davis getting this. Hopefully this leads to him getting more 4- and 5-star offensive linemen to come, because obviously you see Alabama, you see Georgia, you see what they do when it comes to out-of-state offensive linemen. They kill it. They quite honestly kill it. And Ohio State, bam! I'm looking at you. Yes, you right now. So once again, I know you've already subscribed and rang the bell. And before I give you a few extra nuggets, it is a friendly time to remind you that, well, we don't do much recruiting stuff during the season because, well, actual football stuff is happening during the season. And this is obviously the biggest week of the year as well. So let me start off by saying a few philosophical things when it comes to offensive line recruiting. But before I do that, I want to remind you about our live stream schedules, Tuesdays, Thursdays. That was a burp. And, of course, game days, pregame, halftime, postgame shows, all the good stuff. Now, as far as Zalance Heard and the rest of this offensive line class is concerned, I do believe offensive line is the one position that you really need to kill coming out of high school. My buddy J. Bud Davis did a really good chart on this, that offensive linemen enter the portal at a far lower rate than other skill position players. So you can make a case that getting it right when it comes to getting players out of high school is the most important thing. And look, while offensive linemen may not individually affect the game as much as, let's say, a wide receiver might, the one thing you have to keep in mind is wide receivers oftentimes don't play on every snap. Your 5 starting offensive linemen do. So you really got to get this position right. It is very, very, very important. And as we mentioned earlier, LSU's offensive line recruiting over the years just hasn't been up to par. And obviously Brian Kelly coming in, you do get a little lucky that the state of Louisiana has produced what it's produced for 4-star or better offensive tackle prospects over the past 2 years. You look previous to that, there just quite frankly weren't that many, and a lot of them quite frankly didn't work out. So for me, I just think it's absolutely massive that you get someone like DJ Chester to be a part of your class. Now, let's talk about the LSU recruiting class overall. I do feel one thing is true. LSU is in a really good spot when it comes to recruiting, right? A top 10 class right off the jump here with Brian Kelly lets you know the power of the LSU brand. Kids love to play at LSU. Now, obviously, there were some recruits that committed to LSU in large part because of relationships that they had with some of the coaches on LSU staff from their prior stops, most notably Jamar Cain and Cortez Hankton. But the truth is, LSU is still a big-time destination, no matter who the coach may be. So you give Brian Kelly and the coaching staff a lot of credit, but also this university is a school that everybody wants to play, whether it be, how unique LSU is when it comes to the personalities that have come from the school, whether it be all the games LSU's won, Death Valley. But really the main thing is the NFL success from a lot of the players goes a long way as well. So shout out to the man of the hour, DJ Chester, committing to LSU. Now, if you're interested, please come join our PHL Patreon, where you get access to yours truly in our private Discord. You also get my extra film study breakdowns, game grades, and so much more bonus content. Once again, that's patreon.com/LSU football. Let's Gizzo, baby. Now, comment down below, do you believe DJ Chester is LSU's best offensive line commitment? I think a lot of you will say Zalance Heard. I really do think Tyree Adams is going to be a really good player for LSU. So comment down below your thoughts on today's video. It is Power Hour, LSU, bam! And tonight, we're doing pizza. Let's go.